So I randomly get asked about my controller settings in Warzone and if I could make a video about it. So here we go. All right, for the general settings, I just have the default layout. I know a lot of people use tactical. I don't do that because I kind of find it weird when I have to push the right thumbstick in to actually slide and look at the same time. I have bumper ping off, and the reason for that is because if you have it on, you have to switch back and forth between your lethal and tactical. I'd rather be able to use each separately. I don't flip the triggers. I know some people do to make it a little bit faster, but I have an expensive scuff controller, so I got the mouse click buttons anyway, and I have controller vibration off. Some people have always talked about how the vibration of the controller is going to throw off your aim slightly, so I just turned it off. All right, for the dead zone inputs, a lot of people overlook this. I think it is actually highly important. It's important to know that the minimum value for both the left and right thumbstick is going to be different for everyone, and to test it, all you do is click on the test and you just wiggle around the thumbstick and you'll see a little percentage pop up. If it pops up like 1 or 2 or 3, then you simply switch your number to that. If it's popping up 0, then you just keep it at 0. For me, since my controller is pretty new, I have the left and thumbstick both set to a minimum of 1. I have the left stick max at 61 and the right stick max at 99. And the reason for this is if you lower that left stick max down to somewhere like 60 to 75, when you go to sprint, you will sprint just ever so slightly quicker than if you have it at 99. And then for the left and right triggers, I have both of those at 2. I felt like when I had it at 0 and 1, sometimes when I was resting my finger on the trigger, it would fire on accident. All right, for aiming, I used to run a crazy high sensitivity back in the day, but I'm kind of over that now. I run 9 and 9 for both the horizontal and vertical sensitivity. Now, this is going to differ for everyone because, again, everyone has a different controller. It's going to respond slightly different than anyone else. Now, there's actually other things you can do to help your aim. Basically, there's 2 aspects of aiming. 1 is when you're ADS, and 2 is when you're not ADS. If you feel like you're really good at keeping shots on target, but you're too slow at adjusting, you need to learn how to un-ADS for a little bit and then ADS again, because then you'll be able to swing left or right or even turn around much faster. Another option to that situation is to just increase your sensitivity by 1 and play until you feel like you're really good at that, and then increase it again, but don't go crazy. Now, I would recommend this to everyone, but especially someone that's struggling to keep shots on target, is go to the customized sensitivity per zoom. So once you turn this option on, you will notice it breaks it down to different zoom levels, and you'll see my low zoom is at 0.7, and then I increase it slowly as the zoom gets higher. So all you have to do is raise your sensitivity to the point where you feel like you're not too slow reacting, and then lower the low zoom in the 2x, 3x zoom, so you still feel like you're hitting all of your shots up close in those medium gunfights. For the sensitivity multiplier and the vertical aim axis, the tactical stance thing, I have those all just set to the standard value. For aim response curve type, I use dynamic. Some people have talked about trying linear, but I feel like dynamic is mostly what you want to use. Obviously, I have aim assist on and I use default. Some people talked about Black Ops. I used that for a while. I can't really tell too much of a difference, but I just use default. For the motion sensor thing, I'm not gonna lie, I don't use this. I have no idea what it is. So if you're really interested in it, you're gonna have to find another video. All right, for the gameplay controller settings, a lot of these are kind of standard. There's only a few that I kind of differ for the general population with, but we're just going to kind of run through it. Automatic tack sprint, just so you don't have to click in your thumbstick every time you want to sprint. Slide maintain sprint is on. That way you don't get stuck in kind of a dead slide. Auto move forward is off. Tactical sprint behavior is single tap, but that doesn't really matter. Now for mantling, a lot of people have these off. I have the automatic airborne one set to OMS. I feel like sometimes it kind of helps jumping through windows. Ground mantle, you definitely want off. That way you don't accidentally mantle something when you're trying to jump. And then for the ground mantling, kind of same thing. You don't want to just randomly mantle things. For slide and dive behavior, I have it set to slide only. I feel like I never dive anywhere. There's a few times where you can dive off of something to get a better parachute, but I'm rarely doing that. Plunging underwater is set to trigger. Parachute off. That way you can pull your parachute when you're closer to the ground. Sprinting through the door, obviously you want that. Ledge climb behavior, I just do mantle only. That way I don't have to do like kind of an extra movement to go over it. Equipment behavior set to hold. Weapon mount activation, ADS plus melee. Weapon mount exit delay is set to short. That way you're not too slow getting off a mount. Tack stance activation, I have it ADS and melee as well. I felt like I kept accidentally going to tack stance when I had it on the sprint button, and then tack stance behavior is on toggle. Interact and reload behavior set to prioritize interact. That way you're not accidentally reloading when you're trying to pick up something instead. Armor plate behavior you want on apply all. You can always stop it by YYing. ADS stick swap, I have that off. I don't even really know what that does. Backpack control, I have it on stick. That way I can kind of move forward as I'm looking through my backpack if I need to. Depleted ammo weapon switch, I have it set to off. I know how much ammo I have. Quick C4 detonation 1 by 1. That way I can throw one and explode it instead of throwing two and then exploding both. Manual fire behavior, I have it to press. That way, you can fire faster. If you have it to hold, it will fire just by holding the trigger down, but it will be a little bit slower. Akimbo behavior is paired. That way I only have to hit one trigger instead of both of them. It makes it 1, easier to do, and 2, easier to aim. When you hit both triggers, your aim's not going to be as good. And then for the vehicle and overlay behaviors, I have all of that set to just the standard setting. And there you go. There's all my controller settings for Warzone. Video's a lot longer than I expected it to be, but if you got something out of it, it was worth it.